Gilbert Bukenya says he can only stand for presidency in 2016 if there are electoral reforms before the polls. And between Besigye, Museveni and Muntu, who does he think will make a better leader? Part 2 continues now. Now let's come back to your home, Kachiri. What are some of the challenges that people in Kachiri are facing?
They are very, very poor.
And then put it in a national, context.
They are very, very poor. They are struggling so hard. Most people have 1 meal a day. Their children are not studying well. They cannot afford the education of their children. The health facilities here are gone.
But is there anything that this new movement, the new movement from NRM is doing? I mean, you and your people.
Yeah, what we could do is remove the indiscipline in the financial system. Indiscipline such as this Chankwanzi going to Chankwanzi. They spent over 300 million doing nothing except to endorse the president. That is 300 million could probably have helped bringing in more drugs. The money wastage in this government is incredible. In fact, people say abuse of office, abuse of office. These are abusing the offices daily.
Sure.
And I'm telling you, it's causing a lot of people to get annoyed. This was the whole NRM. Wakiso district was almost 99% NRM. Today, perhaps Wakiso district is 10% NRM. Why? Why?
Now, Gilbert, let me also take you back in time. At one point, you were quoted to say that there was some mafia in government.
Yes.
And
I was.
The clique was working to put you out.
Absolutely.
You're going to repeat that again and tell me if you think this clique still exists and if they're a threat to you.
The clique exists. I've been explaining it differently. This clique continuously was pumping wrong information to the president. That
about you?
About me.
Yes.
That I'm going to, at midnight or 2 o'clock, to meet the cardinal who was then the Archbishop of Kampala. Right. And he called me. He says, you man, at night you're meeting the cardinal. During the day, you're with me. I said, what? Can't I meet the cardinal during the day? So, the clique was doing its information. When I went to Western Uganda on this move for prosperity for all, I visited a number of constituencies. And the clique went on to say, no, Bukenya was not seeing anybody except Catholics. It was only Catholics. Even at night, they would bring them in lorries and lorries and lorries. And even the president called me. So the clique is still there, but that clique is going to cause the downfall of the president. I start hearing now the beginning of the unfolding of that clique. It has been strong. It has knocked away many people. It has put people in a responsible position who are not capable of running the system.
Do you think they knocked you out or you're still standing strong?
Well,
the mafia.
Perhaps they knocked me out being closer to the president. But they did not succeed to knock me out as a politician.
Sure.
They tried to knock me out here. When I had a by-election, they came in big numbers, and I defeated them. I can still defeat them. They can only knock me out by distancing myself from the president. And that one they succeeded.
And the issue of corruption in this country, do you think enough is being done?
I don't think enough will ever be done in the current regime. And ask me why.
Why?
If a regime treats some people differently from the other, then corruption will prevail. If there is nepotism in a regime, then corruption will prevail. For example, if we are two with you and we do the same mistake and your mistake is shielded away, and my mistake is openly discussed, then there is absolute corruption. And it will not end. It will be a new regime that will ever fight corruption here, but not this one. Here there is nepotism. There is extreme sectarianism. Coupled with that, there are those who one was calling untouchable. Some of we called them super ministers, super what? They were untouchable.
Yeah.
And they can do anything, nobody will touch them. Even a policeman will fear to go to touch them. The press fears them. So, that's a form of corruption. And that's why you can see the whole structure, up to a village level, everybody is corrupt. I mean, how do I go to hospital if I don't have little money?
So we can only change corruption
if there is
by removing
the whole regime, this current regime, and bringing up a new group. Of course, they will be fought, because when you're fighting corruption, you'll be fighting big mongols, those who really make a lot of money here out of corruption. And they know how to disguise themselves. And that's why these days I term it the good children and the bad children. Once a regime creates good children and creates bad children, then your fate is completed before.
And I was meant to ask you if you think you'll retain your seat in 2016, but now that you've declared you're going to stand for presidency.
MPship, done. I'm done.
This is your last time. I mean, even if you don't have a chance for presidency, you won't stand for the MP seat anymore?
No. The MPship, I'm done.
Or are you going towards your retirement? Are you?
No.
So what is this? Because if the electoral reforms are not made, you won't stand for presidency.
Yeah, but I will agitate. I will become a political activist. I will agitate.
Okay.
Even if for members of parliament, I will agitate. For example, in my system I'm trying to do, we shall put a member of parliament transparently in every constituency of Uganda. And let me tell you, those of the NRM current will find a bruise. For example, here in this Wakiso district, I don't think there will be any single NRM member of parliament that will return in parliament 2016. They will really find it very difficult.
Okay, let me just ask you, if you were not standing for presidency, between Museveni, Besigye, or Muntu, who would you support for presidency? Who do you think would make a better leader?
None of those.
Why? I mean, these are different people.
Yeah, they're different people.
Ideologies.
They are different people, but in none of those.
Why?
You see, this country has been skewed. It has been skewed. Leadership has been in one area for 30 years. The most better, competent leaders in Eastern Uganda. Competent leaders in Central Uganda. Competent leaders in the North.
Yeah.
They must be given a chance.
But maybe they're not owning up to it.
No, they own to it, but they are suppressed. You know, people are fearing. There is a lot of intimidation. Indirectly, there is a lot of intimidation. I have friends of mine who even fear to talk with me in the open like this. They say, I will come there at about 10 o'clock in the night, quietly, because there is absolute intimidation. I had a young man campaigning for me in West Nile, who was called not only by the RDC, but also the DPC. You, why are you addressing the audience and mentioning Bukenya's name? The chap went underground. So there's a lot of intimidation. And some of us must stand. We are going to be abused, but we must stand. We are going to be, described as nonsense, as people with no brains, but we must stand to help the country.
And just as we wind up the interview, what kind of relationship do you have with the Kabaka of Uganda?
The Kabaka of Uganda is my king. I was born in Uganda here. My parents respected the kingship. It's my culture. And whoever talks here about my relationship with the Kabaka of Uganda is really causing unnecessary disturbances. It's like if I go to Guru, I respect the king. There is called Ruwatu. I respect him. If I go to Bunyoro, I respect the king of Bunyoro, because they are Banyoros who have been under a lot of evolution in support of their kingdom. And they pride into them. I also pride into my king. What's the problem with that?
It's nothing political. Maybe he wants to join that new movement.
No. Nothing political. Even when I was still in government, I would go there. Of course, we had the crashes with the president. Why are you going to see the Kabaka? They say, that's my king. It's like when I go to see my priest. I'm a Catholic. He's my priest. There is nothing more. I don't need to be with the king to win an election. No.
And speaking of these Catholics, while you're answering the question of if there's still the Mafia group in NRM, you said they were accusing you a lot for having a close relationship with the Catholics. But again, recently there were some allegations about you and some extramarital affairs, and the Catholic Church, Catholics seemed to support you.
Yes.
Do you think they did the right thing?
Yes. Do you read the Bible? Or
oh, I'm a Muslim, but I know some things about the Bible.
Even in the Quran, it is there. No, God never gave any human beings the power to judge the people. It's God who remained with that power. So if I sin, it's God who will judge me and punish me. It's nobody here on this earth. So if you look, if you read the Bible, it's clearly stated there. So you can make allegations of this, of that. It's my God who will give the potential judgment of me.
So they were right to support you?
Absolutely, and they are right to support me.
Well, Gilbert, I can't wait for that new movement from the NRM.
Not only the new movement of NRM, because for me, that is a pressure group to reform NRM. Because that's the party I was when it was started. I was one of those who endorsed the party. But it is slowly pushing us away. And the further they push us, then the new reform may not eventuate. Finally, we may go somewhere else. But now I'm giving a chance to the party I loved to reform. I want to give a chance to the president I loved to reform.
You're still watching Urban Today. We've been speaking to Gilbert Bukenya, the former Vice President and the current MP, Busiro North. Thank you for watching. I'm Razia Athman.